Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Madison. This video features two different cards using some of the new Lawn Fawn release, specifically the I Like You a Lotl stamp set. So starting off for one of the cards, I have already stamped out my images. So I have two of these little fireflies. These fireflies are from the Little Fireflies stamp and die set from Lawn Fawn, as well as my axolotls, which are from the I Like You a Lotl stamp set. And I am coloring them with my Copic markers, on some Recollections cardstock, 90 pound. And I'm using my Copics, and I believe I stamped these out in jet black Lawn Fawn ink. So I'm just using some violets for my little fireflies. Not accurate, but it just looks cool. And I'm going in with some pinks for my axolotls. Now, the axolotls were so much fun to be coloring for this card video because you can really make them any color. In the research I've done for this video, looking at reference images, they almost come in every color under the sun. There's green ones, brown ones, I've seen black ones with like green eyes, which look really cool, pink ones, orange and yellow. You could probably even get away with purple. You can really color them any color you want. So I was just experimenting lots in this video with all of the different combinations I could possibly think to use. So for this one, I'm using R20, R22, and R32. So for my other axolotl here, I am making him green. Upon doing research for this video and for this card in general, I was looking at where these axolotls come from, and they come from like one little area, one little river in Mexico, which name I can't pronounce, so I'm not even going to try. But when they are from like the native river, they are typically green in color. The pink ones are captive axolotls, apparently. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that. So I thought that was also really cool. They can also like regenerate limbs and stuff. So also very neat. They're also in like the new Minecraft update. So very interesting animals, very cool. And that's kind of what inspired me to make a green one. So for the greens, I'm using YG67, YG63, YG61, and YG17. And I'm just going in, coloring them, and I'm also adding some stippling. And I also brought in some brown for some stippling as well, just to give them kind of a more fishy kind of look. So for the images for my other card, I once again have my axolotl. I also stamped out two of the little bubbles from the axolotl stamp set as well. And then for the majority of my little fishy dudes, I got them from the Fintastic Friends stamp set, which is an older Lawn Fawn stamp set, but it works wonderful for all these underwater cards, as well as the Are Sublime stamp set. So yeah, I just have some of the images that I liked. I picked my favorites really with this one. I really like the eel and the lobster. The lobster is probably one of my favorite Lawn Fawn stamps ever. It's just, he's so cute, and I need to put him in every underwater card I make because he's so beautiful. So I'm just going in and coloring my little dudes. I didn't really have a specific color palette for once with this. I just kind of picked colors I thought would look great with these animals, and just stuck with them. So yeah, you can kind of color these guys whatever you want and have fun with it. upon coloring my new Axolotl for this card, I kind of realized I had made some errors in my other coloring for the Axolotls I had done before, whereas it's just not super accurate. They look great, but they weren't like super legit axolotls, I suppose. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, if you're so curious, the little gills coming out of the sides of the head that they use to breathe are usually darker in color than the skin, along with the little dorsal fin that goes down the back, so it's a little thing on the tail surrounding the tail, I suppose. Hard to describe, but those are usually darker in color than the normal skin color of the axolotl. So if that matters to you at all, there's that piece of information. So I got the die cutting for these backdrops done off camera, and I'm going to go ahead and start ink blending on my backgrounds. My backgrounds are just regular 90-pound cardstock, and they are cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And I'm just adding some ink blending to the backgrounds because the sky will be shown depending on the card you make. Some of them show a bit more sky, some of them show a little less. It depends. But nevertheless, I had to color the sky. So I just chose to do kind of a sunset kind of vibe. So I went in with some squeezed lemonade Distress Oxide ink and some worn lipstick Distress Oxide ink and just blended them lightly. Once my backdrops were ink blended and such to my liking, I am then taking my Gansai Tambi Starry watercolors and I'm just adding a few of the different gold shades here to the background, giving it some splatter, some interest. It's not like you can really see the sky all that much in the card, but it just adds something and I like the way it looks. Next, I am taking the Happy 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 add-on stamp set from Lawn Fawn, and I am just adding the sentiment for my Valentine's card on my card base. So I already cut and scored my card bases off camera, and I'm just adding the sentiments on the inside. I also did my thank you card off camera as well, just because it's really repetitive and can take up a lot of time. So in this one I stamped Happy Valentine's Day, and the other one I just said big thanks. I used the Big Thanks for Hero art stamp set for that one. And here I am assembling my main cards. So this one is going to be my thank you card. So the waves go up almost near the top. And for the waves, I used the simple wavy border dies from Lawn Fawn. So I'm applying my waves first to my backdrop, and then I'm going to go in and add my Bayou backdrop on top of that. And I'm making sure that the seaweed is coming up from the bottom, so it looks more like an underwater scene rather than a bayou scene. So that was the look I was going for. And so after I had all that done, I took my die cut images and just kind of laid them out, figured out where I wanted my folks to go, and here I am gluing down my little axolotls and stuff. I used liquid glue to glue down the majority of my little images here, but I also used the liquid glue to glue down the seaweeds, just to make sure that they stay put. I find that if I don't glue them down, they can snag with the envelope and maybe tear. So I would recommend just trying to glue down the seaweeds if you can, just because you don't want them ripping on your card that you work hard on. So I also used some foam square adhesives to pop up the rest of my images that I don't glue with the liquid glue, just to add some dimension and some interest to the card. It was at this time I kind of realized I had this void in the middle of my card where nothing was happening and it just didn't look right. So I took this solid fish image and some salty ocean ink, and I am just stamping him all around. The fish is from the Mermaid For You Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I just feel like it really helped the composition of the card. Next, I'm taking this banner. It is from the double slider dies, I believe. You can use any banner, it doesn't matter. And I'm taking the Axolotl sentiment, thank you Lotl, and I'm just stamping that out onto my brown craft cardstock sentiment using some crunchy leaf Lawn Fawn ink. And once the ink is dry, I am gluing it onto my card using some of the ATG gun. You can kind of place it wherever you want. I tried to go for the banner in the middle because I never do that in these videos. I always put it off to the side. Everything glued on my card panel, I am taking my ATG gun, adding some glue and gluing that onto my card base. As you could have seen, my card base was already stamped with the sentiment on the inside, and it's already cut and folded. I just did that off camera to save some time. And that's about it for this card. I did add some Jelly Roll gel pens as well as some sequins just to give it some interest and kind of finish it off, but that was about it. Really a simple, easy card for my standards. Next, for the Valentine's card, I am taking my backdrop once again, and I'm taking my waves. These waves, I have two of them in two different shades of blue, and they don't go nearly as high as the waves did on the previous card. They go about maybe halfway. And so I'm gluing them on top of each other and then placing them onto my card panel. Next, I'm taking another one of my Bayou backdrops. I had cut out two for this video, so this is the second one, and I'm gluing it down with some liquid glue. I do recommend the liquid glue so much when cutting and pasting this thing down because it is just so piddly and so hard to get straight every single time you glue it down. The liquid glue is a bit more forgiving because you do have some time before it really sets and it's not movable anymore. So if you're gonna be prone to making mistakes, like me, I would recommend it. Next, I am adding some of my colored images from before. So I'm adding these two little axolotl dudes. I am gluing them down with some liquid glue. And I have two because this is a Valentine's card. Perhaps they are in love. Perhaps they are just best friends. And I am also adding my little firefly dudes around the top here, kind of inspired by the Princess and the Frog movie now that I think about it. And I am just gluing those bad boys down with some foam squares just to add some variety once again, add some interest. Next, I am taking this banner I had cut out of craft cardstock, kind of similar to the last card, but this time I am embossing my sentiment, so I treated it with a anti-static powder tool, and then I'm stamping my sentiment with the Versamark ink, and then I'm adding the Ranger Gold embossing powder on top, now that it's all sticky, and tapping off the excess, and then I'm going to treat that with my heat gun. Once it's melted, I am then gluing it onto my card here. So I'm just gluing it in the center on the bottom. For some finishing touches, I am just taking various sequins and sparkles from Studio Katia. They're from Edmonton, so very close, very Canadian, go them. And I am just adding some of these flowers in the little seaweeds to kind of make it look more Valentine's Day-ish-esque, if you will. And I'm also adding some of these pink sequins just because it works. It matches the axolotls, it also matches the theme, and it just adds some interest. I also didn't show this in this clip, but I did add some gel pens to my little axolotls and fireflies just to add some interest. Add some glitter because you can never have enough, and I also added some glitter glue to the ends of my little fireflies. And then I'm taking my ATG gun and gluing my card panel onto my card base. And that about finishes it up for these two cards here. So if you want to, see what else I'm uploading, subscribe, comment if you liked this video, if you have any requests for videos, share this with others because it really just helps boost the channel. I also have an Instagram link down below if you want to check that out. Keep tabs on what's going on with me. And that's about it. So just thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support, and I will see you guys later.